The Amorous Doctor. Chapter 7. The girl living next door had grown into a woman. At the moment, Ling Yun reclined on the bed with her eyes closed and her head on Ding Ning's thighs while enjoying swinging her legs and singing. Ding Ning happened to see her white cleavage, which couldn't be wrapped in by her bra from the collar band of her nurse uniform. He felt a bit guilty and turned around. Smelling the faint fragrance of her, Ding Ning got lost at the moment. The girl living next door had grown into a woman. 5 years ago, he just felt a little embarrassed at the sight of her naked body. Now she wasn't the skinny girl anymore. She had grown into a woman with a curvy shape and the charm of a young woman. She was fascinating enough to attract Ding Ning. With his throat rolling silently, Ding Ning said in a dry voice, "Ling Yun, aren't you on duty?" "I'm on duty now. I'm on the night shift today with the mission to take care of this ICU." Ling Yun chirped even without opening her eyes. Ding Ning secretly complained, "You are so relaxed at work. I'm the one who was tortured by you." He had always treated Ling Yun as his buddy, so he didn't want his physical change noticed by her. She had teased him for 5 years because he saw her naked inadvertently. If she knew that she attracted him, she would tease him in her lifetime. After keeping silent for a while, Ding Ning wanted to move his numb thighs to conceal the embarrassment caused by intimate contact. However, he suddenly found that she had fallen asleep and snored softly. Thus, Ding Ning didn't dare to move, afraid to disturb her dream. He tenderly stared at the girl living next door. They had been friends for 5 years. He knew that Ling Yun always pretended to be rude and harsh, but she just did that for protecting herself. Actually, she was kind and gentle, but she had always disdained to admit it. Her sleeping face looked so graceful. The exquisite collarbone, upright boobs, flat belly, slender waist, plump hips as well as white and long legs made her shape fascinating. Her skin was so moist, tender and smooth with a touch of flush on her face, which made him feel the urge to touch it. Her face was so symmetrical, either too pointed nor too sharp. She looked so elegant even without any makeup. Her eyes were so fascinating even they were closed. They were filled with the noble temperament of a princess. Her straight nose, lips as red as roses and white teeth exposed in her sleep, they made her look adorable and innocent. Her eyelashes were long and dense, showing some charm on her pretty face, making her look like a doll. Her hair was black and bright, enchanting him effortlessly. Sniffing at her beautiful hair softly, he noticed the rich fragrance penetrating deeply into his heart from it. She looked like Snow White in sleep, perfect and flawless. Of course, you need to ignore the suspicious lines of her slightly quirking mouth. Admiring such a beautiful woman under the light, Ding Ning looked at her in a slightly different way. It was the first time that he had found this innocent girl had grown into an extraordinary beauty before he noticed it. There was no young girl without thoughts of love and no young man without ardent affection. If Ding Ning said she didn't attract him at all at the moment, it must be a lie. Feeling his heartbeat speeding, he even quietly bent down with a desire to secretly kiss this princess in sleep. However, thinking of her tough mother and her weird character, Ding Ning immediately stopped, restraining this dangerous thought in time. After taking several deep breaths and closing his eyes to stop himself from gazing at her, he strained to restrain his anxious urge. He cursed himself secretly. "I'm such a jerk with an improper desire for my buddy. No, I should nip my desire in the bud." He didn't notice the slight flush on the delicate face of the princess sleeping on his thighs. She turned down the corners of her mouth, which were slightly quirked up before. As she flickered her eyelids, her thin eyelashes trembled a little. She got her breath back, relaxed her tense body, and felt her heart beat slower. She seemed to feel relieved as well as a bit frustrated. When Ding Ning was criticizing himself in his mind, Dr. Wang was questioned at a joint hearing held in the conference room of the hospital committee. The joint hearing was headed by Director Zhao from Health Bureau and Executive Zhou, with the hospital committee as members as well as the director of the cardiothoracic surgery department, Yi Shulan, and her son in the public gallery. Under the dual pressure of Director Zhao and Executive Zhou, Dr. Wang, who was a resident physician, had to honestly tell about how he rescued Ding Ning on the principle of leniency to those who confess and punishment to those who reject. A brief introduction of the titles. In the hospital, they were divided into the resident physicians, attending physicians, associate chief physicians, and chief physicians. As the affiliated hospital of Ninghai University, Chajiang Hospital was a teaching hospital. Therefore, there were titles from junior to senior, who were assistant, lecturer, associate professor, and professor. In fact, there were some preliminary physicians. They were physician assistants. In the clinical title evaluation, a physician could be promoted to a higher level every 5 years after he passed the exam. Physicians at the same level had the same qualification even if they were from hospitals at different levels. An undergraduate from a formal medical college should begin his/her career by working as an intern in a hospital. 1 year later, if he/she was qualified to apply for the qualification of practicing physician, he/she could be granted the certificate of practicing physician next year after passing the Unified National Examination. If he/she was granted the certificate of practicing physician, 5 years later he/she was qualified to apply for the qualification of a physician, which was the intermediate title, but he/she must pass the strict national exams of English and computer before that. He/she then could be granted the qualification of attending physician after passing the evaluation. No matter which hospital, there was a strictly professional level classification. As a resident physician, Dr. Wang was just at the lowest level. He should keep a low profile in front of an attending physician. Moreover, the head of the health bureau was also sitting here. Ninghai was a provincial city, and the director of the health bureau was a department-level cadre. Thus, Director Zhao could be considered at the level of the mayor or party secretary. What was more, Director Zhao Jiangwo was not only the director of the health bureau of Ninghai City but also the director of the Food and Drug Administration of Ninghai City. He held great power. Therefore, Dr. Wang told the truth without hiding anything. However, all the people in the conference room fell into silence after his narration. Dr. Wang cautiously raised his head to peep at their expressions in anxiety. Director Zhao frowned while smoking. The smoke made his face vague. Executive Zhou squinted slightly with his long, narrow eyes. He seemed like smiling, but actually he wasn't. No one could tell his thought from his face. Li Qiuhai, the assistant dean, twitched his eyebrows, seeming like about to lose his temper. Apparently, he didn't believe a word Dr. Wang said and considered that Dr. Wang was fooling them. Other members of the hospital committee wanted to laugh but didn't dare to. It was difficult for them to hold back their laughs. They probably thought that Dr. Wang was talking nonsense. Meanwhile, Yi Shulan and Shimuyang appeared to be thoughtful. After all, Shimuyang had served in the army, so he knew how hard he beat Ding Ning. Although Shen Muyang considered what Dr. Wang said was a little marvelous, he found it really inconceivable that Ding Ning was in good condition at present. Li Qiuhai ferociously picked up the teacup and had a sip. Despite his desire to pour the tea on Dr. Wang, the jerk talking nonsense, he didn't dare to do that before Director Zhao, and Executive Zhou said something. Besides, he believed that he had heard of the name Ding Ning. However, he wasn't able to recall where he heard of it. So, he just kept silent with nothing else in his mind. He secretly watched Director Zhao and Yi Shulan out of the corner of his eye. He had strong political sensitivity. From how Director Zhao treated Yi Shulan, the pretty lady with supreme elegance, he could tell that she was somebody. As he expected, Director Zhao said to Yi Shulan with respect after snuffing out the cigarette, "Ms. Yi, what do you think? I think it's somewhat like Tails, but I feel relieved to know that Ding Ning is all right. He is someone important for me, so I need to ensure his health," Yi Shulan said gracefully, showing her noble temperament. Although Director Zhao was an administrator who didn't know about medical skill, he had seen plenty of medical cases. He carefully glanced at Ding Ning's medical record, nodded, and said, "He should be all right. I can tell that he is very healthy now from his medical record. Some of his data was even a little higher than that of a normal person, which means that he is very strong. If he is so strong, why would he be knocked out by me?" Shen Muyang curled his lips scornfully and whispered. On hearing what he said, other people present suddenly realized that Ding Ning was knocked out by him. No wonder his mother needed to ensure Ding Ning's health. She probably did that to keep him out of trouble. Yi Shulan gave Shen Muyang a hard look, stopping her worrisome son's nonsense. Staring at his indifferent face, she became worried. The brat is as stubborn as his father. He rejected to apologize to Ding Ning no matter what I said. He said that Ding Ning took liberties with his sister. Ding Ning wasn't beaten to disabled. He had given him a break. He didn't compromise even if I threatened him with his sister's life. Instead, he unrepentantly said that it was impossible for him to apologize, but he could get even with Ding Ning by letting Ding Ning beat him. Yi Shulan gnashed her teeth in anger. Shen Muyang was exactly the same as his father, who had never apologized. His father is also a jerk. Every time we quarreled, he has never apologized to me. He just had sex with me without saying anything. Besides, after that, he said that he had apologized by his actions with nothing left to say. Did the jerk really want to apologize or just have fun? I had fun as well, but it's not what I asked for. Okay, it went too far. There was no other solution, so Yi Shulan had to ask Director Zhao to hold the conference of the hospital committee and organize the experts of cardiovascular and cerebrovascular department around Ninghai for a consultation. She aimed to hear Director of Cardiovascular and Cerebrovascular Department Wang Guangwei's analysis on her daughter's condition and seek a solution, and knew about Ding Ning's status, by the way. After all, her daughter got better after Ding Ning's treatment. Perhaps they could find some other solutions without asking Ding Ning for help.